Cow dung a criminal behavior. Mental health effects, warning signs, and elimination benefits of cow dung exposure written, edited, created, and published by Nisa Pasha, executive political health guru, peer counselor, and educator, mentalhealthrevival.org. Cow dung. What can happen to people and communities in a multicultural society? Foods and materials carry deep cultural, spiritual, and practical meanings. When traditional items, like cow dung in agriculture or ritual use, and bred wheat as staple foods, interact across cultures, several outcomes can unfold. These outcomes fall into four major categories: public health, cultural misunderstanding, environmental practice, and social dynamics. Introduction to cow dung. Cow dung, also called cow manure, is one of the oldest natural resources used in agriculture, fuel, construction, and cultural rituals across the world. In many communities, it is valued as a sustainable material that supports soil health, natural energy, and traditional living. However, while cow dung has legitimate agricultural and cultural importance, direct or unsafe exposure can affect a person's physical health, mental clarity, mood, and overall well-being. Cow dung is the fibrous waste produced by cows after digesting grass and plant materials. It has long been used as fertilizer, fuel, and a natural building material in many cultures. While it plays an important role in agriculture, it must be handled safely. When sanitation is poor or waste is not properly composted, cow dung can introduce bacteria and microbes into environments where food is grown or prepared, creating potential health risks. It is made of undigested fiber from grasses and grains, bacteria, and microorganisms, moisture, small amounts of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Common uses: natural fertilizer for crops, fuel, when dried into paddies, ingredient for biogas production, building material, ritual or cultural uses in certain traditions. Warnings. How cow dung can affect human health. Cow dung is not inherently toxic, but it can carry bacteria, parasites, and fungi. If it is not handled safely, it can affect human health in four major ways. 1. Effects on the body. A. Respiratory system. Burning cow dung or inhaling particles from dry dung can lead to coughing, wheezing, or shortness of breath. Worsened asthma. Long-term lung irritation. Indoor burning is especially harmful because smoke becomes trapped inside the home. B. Digestive system. Accidental contamination of food can cause stomach cramps, diarrhea, vomiting, bacterial infection. C. Immune system. Exposure to dung that has not been composted properly can introduce parasites, harmful microbes, fungal spores. People with weak immune systems, elderly individuals, children, mentally ill adults under stress, or those on medication, are more vulnerable. D. Skin and eyes. Physical contact can cause rashes, eye irritation, infections if it enters cuts or wounds. 2. Effects on the brain and mind. Exposure to cow dung, especially through inhaling smoke or microbial contamination, can influence neurological and psychological well-being. A. Mood changes. Breathing smoke from burning dung can increase irritability, reduce focus, cause headaches, create feelings similar to mild intoxication or confusion. In some people, this is due to smoke particles decreasing oxygen flow and irritating the nervous system. B. Mental fog and confusion. Microbial exposure and chronic indoor smoke can lead to slower reaction time, difficulty concentrating, reduced alertness, brain fatigue. People with mental health conditions may feel these effects more intensely. 3. Effects on memory and cognitive function. Although cow dung itself is not a direct neurotoxin, the conditions created by improper exposure can influence memory. Possible memory effects: difficulty retaining new information, forgetfulness after prolonged smoke exposure, brain fog from recurrent stomach illness or dehydration, reduced cognitive sharpness due to poor air quality. These effects come from indirect pathways: oxygen reduction, increased stress on the body, inflammation, and decreased nutrient absorption during infection. 4. Emotional and psychological effects. Individuals in stressful environments, crowded living areas, rural communities with indoor burning, or marginalized groups may experience anxiety about contamination, discomfort, or embarrassment around odors, heightened stress responses, sleep disruption. All of these indirectly affect mental balance and memory. Summary: cow dung is a natural material used worldwide for farming, fuel, and cultural purposes. It becomes a health concern when it is burned indoors. It contaminates food or water. It is handled without sanitation and exposes vulnerable individuals to prolonged smoke or microbes. Effects include respiratory issues, digestive infections, headaches, and mood changes, memory fog, and cognitive slowing, stress, and emotional discomfort. Used safely, composted properly, and handled with hygiene, cow dung is not dangerous. Used improperly, it can influence the entire body, the mind, and the mood through indirect, biological pathways. 2. How cow dung enters food. Cow dung usually enters the food supply through accidental contamination rather than intentional action. This often happens on farms where crops, water sources, or equipment are exposed to animal waste. Contamination can also occur during storage if food is kept in areas with poor hygiene. Understanding how this happens helps communities prevent exposure and maintain safe, clean food systems. A. Poor sanitation at farms. Cow dung can accidentally mix with harvested vegetables, grains, like wheat, water used for washing crops. This happens when farms do not follow sanitary procedures. 3. Why contamination is rarely intentional. Intentional contamination with cow dung is extremely rare and considered criminal behavior. Most modern communities have strict food safety laws and monitoring systems that prevent purposeful harm. In a diverse society, the idea of intentionally infecting food with dung does not reflect any cultural practice or widespread behavior. Instead, contamination almost always results from sanitation issues, agricultural mistakes, or improper handling. Improper composting. Farmers often use cow dung as fertilizer. If it is not fully composted, bacteria remain alive. It can transfer onto crops and later into food. Signs. Food may be contaminated. Foods contaminated with cow dung often show clear signs, such as strong earthy odors, unusual discoloration, or gritty particles that do not belong in the food. These sensory warnings help people identify unsafe food before it is consumed. If contamination occurs, the changes in smell, texture, or appearance usually make the problem noticeable. Food can be contaminated if workers handle animals and then handle food without washing. Machines used on farms are not cleaned. Grains stored near animal waste may be exposed to dust, spores, odors, microbial particles. Highlights: rare but possible intentional contamination. In very few cases, contamination can be intentional, but this is criminal behavior and not a typical pattern in any society. Intentional contamination might be associated with malicious behavior by an individual, food sabotage, workplace conflict, mental illness, affecting the perpetrator's judgment. This is not something done by a vast population. Public health systems monitor these issues carefully. Highlights: how to tell if food may be contaminated. True cow dung contamination is usually detectable by its smell, appearance, and texture. A. Smell. Cow dung has a strong, earthy, ammonia-like odor. Food contaminated with it may smell sour, rotting, musty, like manure or muddy earth. B. Color or texture changes. Signs might include unusual dark specks, discoloration or streaks, sticky or muddy textures, clumps that do not belong in the food. C. Taste. If someone accidentally tastes contamination, it may taste bitter, dirty, metallic, strongly earthy, but tasting is not a safe test. Throw the food away if it seems suspicious. D. Food poisoning symptoms. If someone eats contaminated food, symptoms may include stomach cramps, nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, fever. These symptoms usually appear within 72 hours. 5. Effects on the body. When cow dung contamination reaches the body, it can introduce bacteria, parasites, or toxic particles that lead to digestive illnesses. Symptoms may include stomach pain, vomiting, diarrhea, or fever. Even mild exposure puts stress on the immune system, especially in individuals who already face health challenges or environmental vulnerability. 6. Effects on the mind, mood, and memory. Exposure to contaminated food or prolonged inhalation of dung smoke can influence mental clarity and emotional balance. People may experience headaches, irritability, or difficulty concentrating due to reduced oxygen flow and inflammation in the body. When the body becomes sick or stressed, it can affect mood stability and short-term memory, creating feelings of fog, confusion, or slowed thinking. Detox time of cow dung exposure. 72 hours. When the body encounters cow dung contaminants, such as bacteria, spores, or irritants from unsafe food or smoke, it typically begins clearing these substances within 72 hours. First 12 hours. The body identifies the contaminant. People may notice early warning signs like stomach discomfort, mild nausea, headaches, or sudden irritability as the immune system activates. 48 hours. The detox process intensifies. The digestive system or respiratory system works to push out bacteria and irritants. Symptoms such as diarrhea, fatigue, or mental fog may peak as the body actively expels the exposure. 72 hours. Recovery begins. Inflammation lowers, energy gradually returns, and mental clarity improves as the body completes its natural cleansing cycle. This 72-hour window reflects how the body reacts to and eliminates cow dung, related contaminants once the source is removed. Food safety in a diverse society in multicultural environments. Food safety relies on shared standards, education, and communication. Different communities may have diverse agricultural traditions, but all depend on clean, healthy food sources. Ensuring proper sanitation and respecting safe farming methods helps protect public health and prevent misunderstandings or fear about contamination across diverse populations. Conclusion: mental health effects, warning signs, and elimination benefits of cow dung exposure. Cow dung, when handled or exposed to in unsafe ways, can quietly influence both mental and physical health. For many people, especially those already living with stress, trauma, or chronic illness, the body's reaction to contaminated food or poor air quality can spill over into emotional and cognitive balance. Headaches, irritability, mood swings, and episodes of brain fog are early mental health indicators that the body is struggling with inflammation, poor oxygen flow, or environmental toxins linked to cow dung exposure. As peer counselors and political health educators, validating these experiences helps people recognize that these effects are biological responses, not imagined or exaggerated. Recognizing warning signs is a form of self-advocacy and community protection. Sudden digestive issues, unexpected fatigue, changes in attention, and unexplained shifts in mood can signal that cow dung contamination, whether through food, air, or environment, is affecting the system. In marginalized communities, where environmental injustice and poor sanitation standards occur more often, these signals must be taken seriously. People deserve clean food, clean air, and the right to understand when something in their environment is harming them. Removing or reducing exposure to cow dung contamination brings clear benefits for the whole mind-body system. Once the source is eliminated, inflammation decreases, mental fog begins to lift, and energy returns. Mood steadies, memory strengthens, and the body can function without the constant stress of fighting irritants or bacteria. These improvements empower individuals to think clearly, make healthier decisions, and participate more actively in their families and communities. From a political health standpoint, advocating for cleaner environments and safer food practices becomes part of protecting mental clarity, emotional stability, and long-term wellness. If you have specific questions or concerns, feel free to share. Hope you found this insightful while grasping the key components. Please contact me if you would like to chat in a peer counseling session, revolving around this post or another topic. Mental Health Revival, seeking to inspire a unique perception of mental health awareness.